Before I begin our opening prayer, I'd like to say what prayer means to me. I have a button on my stole that no one can read that says, "Prayer, the original wireless connection." How true. No matter what you're going through in your day, you can stop and pray. You don't have to open up a computer. You don't have to open up your phone. You can just stop and do it. God never had any grandchildren. Do you know that? We're all children of God.
Prayer means to me in my life, like I grew up in Unity and Church of Christ also, so I have not known a life without prayer. It's so natural to me. It's the way I live life from the time I get up till the time I go to bed. It's just a constant, loving, open communication with God in spirit, and it's always wonderful, whether I'm in a church building, taking a walk, doing the dishes, in gratitude that I have food to eat, loved ones to eat it with, so bring on the dishes. Yeah, that's what a prayer life is meant to me. It is my life. So.
I would like to say just a short word about prayer from my perspective. I'm first quickly reminded of the words from Charles Fillmore, Unity's co-founder, who said, "Prayer is the highest form of mind action known." It's the highest form of mind action known. And to me, that means that we transform our thought and consequently our next actions when we recognize the nature of God. We claim that nature in the form of a power or a presence or a principle and realize how we can be showing up differently in our lives. Because it is true that God is and I am. The purpose of prayer, as I see it, is simply to find God again and have a greater experience with God. To be lifted up by Spirit as it speaks and talks and thinks and acts as us.
So I don't know how long I've been a prayer chaplain here. Becky might know. She's good with years. 5 or 6. Anyway, it's like me. I wake up and I'm automatically in prayer mode. I don't do anything. It's just automatic. I just wake up and I'm in that prayer all day. And sometimes I don't know what to say. Sometimes I just say, God, because I don't have the right words. So I know He is there and I know He's listening. He, she.
I'm so honored to be the one chosen to be the representative chaplain to speak the talk today. I have been a chaplain here at Unity of Garden Park for 14 years. Bobby Harris and I kind of came in together. My name is Sandy Malloy, if you don't know me. I've had many, many positions here. If I start counting, I mean, I've done fellowship, I've done PowerPoint, I do media now still, I've helped a little with sound, I've been on the board, I have done the website, I have, I don't know if there's anything I haven't done just a little bit of, and of every single position, I'm a licensed Unity teacher, of all of the positions I have ever served here in this church, none other has helped me to grow more spiritually than being a chaplain and praying for you, praying with you. It is our honor, our greatest honor. And if there's nothing else that you get out of this talk today, please know that we hold sacred space for you, for your loved ones, for your pets, for your prosperity, for your health, for your joy. We want you to know more of God like we do. And that's why we do what we do. So thank you. I want to start with the affirmation. We're going to start and end with it just because it kind of helps me get focused. So if we go ahead and put that up there, I can take a moment to pray. Anytime, anywhere. I quiet my mind, open my heart, and feel my connection with God. All is well. So my prayer journey starts with a little anxiety. I was never taught to pray as a child. I grew up, my dad was Southern Baptist, my mom was Methodist, and they decided because their parents argued so much that they would raise me with nothing but good values and a couple really fundamental Bible stories like the Christmas story and the Easter story. And when I asked my mom why they chose this, she said, because I want you to choose what it is you want. And so I took that seriously like it was some job position when I was about 12. And I thought that I was supposed to actually go out and find what I was. And so there was the anxiety of that, like, I don't know. How do I pray? And I found out how, like, the Buddhists pray, and I found out how the Hindus pray. I went to church with my Catholic friends, and there was a lot of getting up and getting down there. And then I went with a friend of mine. He was studying to become a Baptist minister. And that was interesting to me just because my dad was Southern Baptist, and I wanted to know what that was like. And there are, what I have found, as many ways to pray as there are people on this planet. It is like so personal and so deeply intimate a thing that we do. And I love that in Unity, we teach that there's no right and wrong way. We do teach that there can be more effective ways to pray if you're up for that. If you want to kick it up a notch, there's always another notch to go. And I love that my prayer journey led me here. I'm trying to think how long ago I came to the Garden Park. It's been almost 25 years now. I was looking for a church to get married in, and I chose this church, and here I am today. And what I've learned, a couple things over this prayer journey, has brought me to the point where I see prayer with the talk today as a conversation with God. Now, Bob Vogus and I were talking before, how, like, is this Neil Donald Walsh? Like, he did that. I'm like, well, no, but I'm not going to talk about the book. But yes, it is, because prayer for me is very much like Becky, well, like everybody kind of has described it. It is a constant, ongoing thing through the day. And when I first started out, that was very difficult for me. And I wanted to say this because I think I resonate with this congregation. I have seen you all grow in prayer so much. I was telling people when I first got here, when I used to do prayer classes, I used to be afraid to call it a prayer class because I thought nobody would come. I was afraid that they were kind of afraid of that word prayer, and if I put meditation on it, I'd get all these people. And if I put prayer on it, people rightly have baggage about what prayer should be. And I've seen you all take on the homework assignments from Reverend Kathy so much and, like, grow into that comfort spot that you all now know that pause and then pray and then proceed. So I am also walking that same walk, and it's really, really just a good note to self to remember that this is an ongoing conversation. It's just not the button I push when I'm surrounded in circumstances. It is like all-time constant. I wanted to get to the place where my life was the prayer. And this is why I had a conversation with Martha Creek. And we would all, at these retreats she does, we all offer some kind of service. What are you really good at? And it's all kinds of things. People are financial planners, and they're good with beauty tips. Some of them are really good with planning vacation. I mean, you will find all kinds of strange things that people are really good at, and I always offer prayer. And people take every break. I will pray with someone different, and I love it. And she says, "Why do you pick this?" And I said, "Because I don't do it." And she says, "Tell me more about that." And I said, all day long, I'm doing stuff, doing stuff, doing stuff. I'm trying to get places. I'm trying to get my tasks done. All know me. If you know me, you know I'm an overachiever. I'm the Gold Star girl. I'm always trying to make it a little higher on that list. And prayer is the one thing I don't do. God does the praying. And it comes right through me. And it is like going to another planet when I first realized this. And she said, "Sandy, what if your whole life was like that? What if it was all that easy? What if you just allowed God to do it? Because that's what's happening anyway." So even though there's a million different ways that we can pray, that prayer is the highest form of thought. As co-founder Charles Fillmore would put it, the acceleration of our mind action. And we talk about that in Unity all the time, about thinking. So we have the thinking and the talking part of the prayer, and then we have the listening part. And for a very long time, I had a hard time getting those things together. Like, I spent a long time okay, what are the right words? This affirmative thing. Okay, so the words. How am I supposed to say that? Has anyone ever been there? Is it just me? Okay, so I really wanted to get behind this affirmative thing, because in Unity, we pray non-dualistically, meaning we don't believe that God is out there. I should really say conversations with God and you. Right? Conversations with God and me. Conversations with God in you. Because if we leave out that in you part, that kind of takes the whole fuel out of the affirmative prayer. Affirmation, yes? Is it just me? Okay, so people say, well, what do I do when I can't do affirmative prayer? And it still happens for me. I get really emotional. My dad's health is not very well. He's really declining his dementia. I'm so happy and grateful that he recognizes me, but there are days that I cannot talk to him because he cannot be conscious. And my mother is having a breast cancer challenge, and there are moments when affirmation I cannot wrap my head around it, because when we're praying from God, that means I need to sit down and be quiet and know that there's God in me, and God is. Even though all of this stuff is going on. So, I don't know, from my point of view, I see pictures. If you ever you might want to try this, and I know some of you already do this, but maybe you just don't realize you do it, and you can use it for a purpose when you're having problems being affirmative. So, if I want to be peaceful, I see myself in peace. If I want peace for my mom and dad, I see the slight smiles on their face. I see them, I visualize, and then I wrap them in a light. I'm a real visual person, so I wrap them in this beautiful, glowing pink light, and I see little hearts falling on their heads to bless them. Because it's not all about the words. Justin Timberlake says it. He says, say something. Sometimes it's better to say nothing, right? Alison Krauss, you say it best when you say nothing at all. So these are not new concepts. You do not have to use words while you're doing the talking part of your prayer. These wonderful people, they do. And they don't always do it. I don't always either. So sometimes the talking is just affirming that God is where? In me. Okay, so God is in you. You're not a God out there. So it's affirming the truth that we know just to know it, just to know, just to see the wholeness, right? And then the listening is getting still. That's the meditation part. So people say, I think that prayer is the talking and meditation is the listening. I said, no, it's both. It's conversation. So this keeps happening. So we affirm, then we give God a chance to talk. Then we affirm, then we give God a chance to talk. We affirm, and then we give God a chance to talk. It's an ongoing conversation. Can we see that first slide up there? So Mary Manamorsi says it this way: I chose to be a partner with God and to believe that there was literally nothing impossible for this partnership. That is seeing the God in me, because with God, all things are possible. All things, all possibilities. The greater, bigger, more expansive way of being, the more peaceful way of being is inside you already. It is already there. It is already there as the God in you. And so this is hard for a person like me, the Gold Star girl who wants to achieve it, to get to it, to reach it, to work for it, to check it off a list. There is absolutely no way to do this because it is already there. It's so close, and it's so easy to forget it. So that's why prayer is important, because we have to remember. Then we take a turn to listen. Now that I've remembered this, what's God got for me? And sometimes I get it right away. Sometimes it comes later. But this is my partnership with the divine in me, that I'm never alone because I walk with the big I, this divine thing in me that is, I can't even use the word connected, because there's no such thing as disconnected. The small I, the little me, senses some kind of disconnect, but in reality, there is nothing to disconnect, because it's God in me, always one, always the same. So when I talk, there are different things I can say. So people talk about, well, in Unity, we don't do asking prayers. Well, we could ask. The idea is though we choose words where we claim. So if I can ask in the way I would ask, could you please pass me the salt at the dinner table? Like, who's going to say, no, I'm not going to give you the salt? If I can ask like I'm claiming something, it is fine to ask, because the divine listens to our feeling tones and listens to our expectations. And those are the two things that when I try to do affirmative prayer and I say that it's already done and I speak in positive terms, that's all I'm going for. I'm going for the feeling tone as what's going to come through. So Bobby, I loved all of the, what would it feel like? Because those are all little mini prayers. Those are ways of coming about prayer. What would it feel like if I was on the other side of this health challenge? What would it feel like knowing and realizing and manifesting complete wholeness and health in my body right now? That's how I talk to God. How would it feel if I had complete financial prosperity? How would it feel if my relationships all had the connection and the time that I want to give to them? How would it feel in my body? How can I put a picture to that and see that in my mind? That's the talking to God. And the listening is getting silent. There's an old, I think it was May Rowland. She was Silent Uni long time ago. And she tells a story on Truth Unity in one of her little radio broadcasts about a little boy who was going on vacation with his mom, and his mom forgot. They were going to be gone for about 2 or 3 weeks, and no one gets this but me, so I hope you get this. They were going on vacation, and mom's like, oh my gosh, I forgot to put out the mouse traps. And surely when we get home, our kitchen, all the flour, oh my gosh, I can't even imagine. And the little boy says, no, that's not going to happen, because we learned a prayer in Bible class, and I prayed it before we left, and those mice will not be there. And she's like, okay, well, I want to know what this prayer is. So think to our love offering time. Divine love expressed through me blesses and multiplies and they had mice. And mom is thinking like, oh my gosh, but it was the intention. He didn't know any other prayer. It was the intention that he knew that his mom had been worried about the mice. She didn't want the mice to come. They had made preparation for these mice while they were gone, and she forgot the traps. And he went ahead and prayed, and he thought it was all going to be okay, because it wasn't about what he said wasn't about the words. It was about the feeling tones that he gave when he said that prayer, because that's the prayer he knew how to say. And I love that. For me, that's kind of where my conversation has gone. And over the last year, there was even a point where I kind of lost track of the conversation. And for a little while, I kind of fell out of it entirely and couldn't hear it. And I just feel like part of my journey is to also express that there may be times, but it's kind of like the sun, right? We see it beautifully today, but on a cloudy day, it's still there. And at night, we might not understand all of the laws of science, but we know it's going to be there in the morning. Even if we can't fathom in our brains that the sun is actually still there and shining, we can't see it, we know it's going to be there in the morning. And that's how the God in us is, and that's what prayer allows us to see. Prayer allows us to see that God is always there. So you might not be able to wrap your mind around Kepler or Copernicus or Galileo. However, we feel that it's in there, and we only get that through times of a little bit longer meditation and prayer. So I know that you can pray anytime, anywhere, and I know that I just want to say from my own prayer experience, I would not have gotten through this past year and gotten through those moments where I could not hear God. I was diagnosed with major depression, and they said, "How is it?" I mean, it was okay. I went through it, and the biggest thing for me is, what is it like for me? I couldn't hear God. But guess what? Because I had done so much prayer and so much work, it was sad for me. That was the saddest part of going through all of it, is that I couldn't hear that conversation. Yet I knew it was there, and I never gave up the hope that it would be there again, that would show back up, because just like the sun, God is here, not somewhere where I have to reach out for it. And science has proven that 12 minutes of daily contemplative prayer or meditation, doesn't matter how you do it, changes you as a person, because it changes your brain. It changes everything about your brain. It changes how receptive you are to change. It changes your flexibility and your mindset. It makes you more immune. It changes everything about you. 12 minutes is all it takes to completely change who you are, because in those 12 minutes, you know that you are God here in manifest form. So why pray for others? If we all have our own, that is probably the biggest question I get, and it always surprises me. Like, why pray for others? Everybody's got their own spiritual path, and everybody has God inside them. Everyone can heal themselves. Why do we pray for others? And so I can only answer this question for me. That number one, Unity was founded on this kind of prayer, first of all. So we have good history that we know that people came to the Unity people to be healed. And they came when they couldn't believe. So I know when I was having my moments of not being able to hear anymore, I was listening and not hearing anything, and I was talking and feeling like I was getting nowhere. I had a prayer partner that I texted with every single day. And when I couldn't hear it, and I couldn't know it for myself, my prayer partner could know it for me. And that's what the prayer chaplains are here to do for you. And in those beginning days of Unity, they came to Unity healers to be held in a sacred space, so that when the time was ready, they could hand that over and be ready to go on for themselves. We are all connected, and we can clean up our own thoughts and our own energy, and we can hold our truth every time we can until we can't. And then our job is to be gentle with ourselves and know that there is someone here for you all the time to hold the high watch for you. And just like the sun comes out the next day or comes out from behind the clouds, God is there in you too, and you'll also know it. So Thanksgiving might be one of the most important kinds of prayers that we get the least often. And I just want to speak for the chaplains that we love to pray for you and your loved ones. And we also love to celebrate with you. If you have something super exciting, blesses and multiplies all that I have. Remember that part? Sharing it with someone extends that energy and helps you carry it out. So, living out that prayer is my challenge to you. How can you keep that conversation going all day, every day? And how can we serve you? We have 2 chaplains coming forth today to officially be blessed. So, Robin, if you guys would come up here. Elizabeth. I'm going to put this down for just a second. You can go turn around. All official, so I got the official stuff out. So remember that as prayer chaplains, Elizabeth and Robin have heard the call, and they have agreed that they will keep up their daily spiritual journey based in love and faith and prayer. They have agreed to demonstrate an active commitment to you, to this congregation, to hold the spiritual space of all possibility for you. And to know that prayer, both for themselves and others, is of the utmost importance in our spiritual lives. And having demonstrated a genuine interest in becoming your prayer chaplains, they are here today to hold all of your sacred spaces in the strictest of confidence. Remember, we see it as done. There's no need to talk about it with anyone else. So I'd like to read a prayer from Myrtle Fillmore's Healing Letters. As you learn to see the fullness of God's life and love and power and substance in others, you will know that you need not pour out your own for them. You will have the knowledge and the light to call to their attention what they have and to prompt them to use it. And now, if all the prayer chaplains can just stand, I would love to give a congregational blessing to all of them for all that they do. So it's, we love you, we bless you, we appreciate you, and we behold the Christ in you. We ready? We love you, we bless you, we appreciate you, and we behold the Christ in you. Thank you. And if we could just go back to our affirmation one more time, we want you to take this out into your week. We are so passionate about this. We want you to be just as passionate when we say, if we go to the affirmation, yeah. Remember, I can take a moment to pray anytime, anywhere. I quiet my mind, open my heart, and feel my connection with God. All is well. Thank you.
I'm Barb Frederick. Hi. I am one of the chaplains, as you can see, and I just wanted to say what prayer has meant to me, and I think that everything that everyone said before me just really sums it all up. It has become a constant communication with God. When I am open, sometimes I'm not, And I know, as Sandy said, that when the clouds clear, that I will hear again. But for me, I used to worry about the words, and I've dropped all that because the pause are my words. Once I'm there, I open my heart, I quiet my mind, and the words, it doesn't matter what the words are. My heart is open and I'm hearing, and that's where I get my divine guidance that's going to let me know if there's something I'm supposed to do in this situation or if I'm just supposed to hold love and light. So I've dropped all that worry about the words. And I was a chaplain long before I came forward to be a chaplain, as I know many of you are. So I'm talking to you right now because I know that you are praying and holding the light for this congregation. And when we do that for each other, we're doing it for the world. And it is a beautiful, beautiful thing. So please consider joining us if your heart is calling you to it. And in the meantime, you just keep doing what you're doing, because this is a beautiful congregation filled with love and light. And so I thank you.